to the hidden risks of doing nothing, meaning just keep going without the right coverage on your SQL server. So I don't know. What do you guys think are some of the real world risks that we've seen that may come into play if somebody does nothing and doesn't have the right coverage there?
The scariest one is no backups or thinking you have backups that don't work. Like you said, but it's a very, very difficult situation to come back from if something is to happen. Corruption, ransomware, this, that, or the other, a million different things can happen. And if you think your backups are good,
And that's the interesting one, because we could probably do a whole nother podcast just on the stories of phone calls I've got from people who needed help and they could have had it. It would have been a trivial fix if they'd had backups, but they didn't have any backups in place. Not our managed service customers, but those were just people who called us up, fresh contact there. Yeah, I mean, another big risk with that is performance degradation over time. I mean, we've seen a lot of systems where we get called in for performance help and they said, yeah, we're great 4 years ago, but it just keeps getting slower and slower every single month. And that's a challenge to come in once it's down the road and we've got to do a full performance assessment. But if we can catch those things along the way and continue to improve that month over month, then it never gets to that really bad point.
Yeah. The other one that I can speak to on that specific risk is it can like spiral out of control, and then we've actually had a few clients where like we took them on when performance was really bad, and we actually helped optimize a lot of their systems, get everything organized, get everything set to the point where instead of them like previously they were planning on like increasing their hardware, like adding more CPU, adding more RAM, adding like increasing their costs to keep their system running, where like a month or two into managed services, their CPU and RAM usage was so low that their next upgrade, they are now planning on reducing their CPU and RAM and saving money each month from Azure or Amazon RDS, that kind of those services.
Yep. And to add to that, I mean, we even had one client that after about 8 months working with us, we had freed up so much CPU on their system, and it was a physical hardware with 96 cores and with 48 cores per CPU. And they physically, on a maintenance window, pulled the server out of the rack, plucked one of the cores out, and went from 96 to 48 cores on a server that 10 months previous to that was completely CPU overloaded. And they were able to cut their SQL Server licensing in half by pulling out that extra CPU core there, or CPU with 48 cores on it. So yeah, that's a real thing. And almost every time we do a server upgrade, I think we're going in with less cores than they had before and saving them money on the licensing there.
That's a whole other conversation that could be its own podcast, but especially with the move to cloud-based services for servers, is the cost scale climbs insanely fast when you have performance problems and you let them just continually get out of hand. I mean, I know Georgie kind of talked about it, but just letting it roll to we'll just upgrade the server next time, or we'll keep upgrading it as we get more and more problems, can become expensive very fast.
Yeah, it's cheap a couple of times, but after you've done that a few times, it's just suddenly, yeah, we can't afford that anymore. So,
well, yeah, it's a lot of the licensing models are kind of exponential. Like they start off cheap, little upgrade, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, when did it get to be 8 times the cost of what we were paying initially?
So let me share an example of a different one that we've worked with for a couple of years now, where when they first came to us, their concern was that they had only single site set up with their SQL Server and they needed to be high availability during business hours. And they were concerned what happens to their primary data center. We worked with them for their specific environment and what they needed. Log shipping looked like the right solution for them. We got it set up with log shipping going to a different site in a different state. And gosh, it was probably a week or two after we got that log shipping implementation in place that they had a failure at their primary site, where the primary site went down for over a day. The data center was down for over a day. We were able to help them flip over and get quickly running at that second location using those databases that were all log shipped over there. And it went from a short blip in their system until we got everything up and running, which compared to what it would have been before, it would have been probably 1 to 3 days of downtime had they not had that in place, what we were able to build out for them in the first couple of months of working with them.
Thanks for watching. I'm Steve, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like it, please click the thumbs up icon. And if you want to subscribe, click subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get notified when we have new videos. All right, have a great day.